Hi, hey, how's it going? It's Emily. Good morning, or at least that's morning for me as I'm filming this. And what I want to do for this vlog is continue some series. There are so many series that I've started that I've enjoyed and I'm excited to continue, and there's so many I'm excited to start as well, but I'm really feeling the pull to just continue some series. I'm looking at my list of series that I've started that I can continue with, and it's a long list, and I would like this year to work on getting through some of those. Like, I'm just feeling that pull before I start a bunch of series. I really want to significantly dwindle down the number that I'm currently reading. That's just at least what I want to do at the moment. And we're starting with a few that I have checked out from the library and need to get back to the library. I actually have one more in addition to these three, but I need to return these three more quickly than that fourth one. So we're gonna start with Court of Lions by Samaya Dowd. This is the book following Mirage. So I've got this one. I've got Cursed Crowns by Catherine Doyle and Catherine Weber. This is the one that follows, is it Twin Crowns? I believe is the title of the first one. And then I also have Crooked Kingdom. I read the first one in a vlog at the beginning of last year, I think, and really am excited to continue this one as well. So I need to return these three to the library, as I said, the most quickly. So what I want to do for this series of videos is have FairyLoot tarot cards determine which one I read. So I've just grabbed 3 random cards, and I have little stickers, let's see if you can see that, little stickers on each of them for the 3 books I just showed. And so I'm just gonna shuffle, you know what I mean? I know it's only 3, so it's a little bit of a weird shuffle, but I just want to give them a quick mix, and then I'm feeling this one. So let's see. Okay, so it is in fact Crooked Kingdom. And so this will be the first one I start with, and then I'll just pick between these two. I'll add some more cards in next time. Since these have some time constraints on them, I want to make sure to start with these. But that's what I plan to do, or maybe I'll incorporate a spinner wheel in there somewhere in a vlog later, have a spinner wheel with a bunch of series I want to continue and do it that way. But I want to find some fun way to pick a series to continue. So we'll start this one with Crooked Kingdom. So I'm actually currently reading a different book, but Crooked Kingdom will be my next read. So I will check in. I just had a moment, so I wanted to go ahead and open this vlog and pick the next book, but I will let you know once I have started Crooked Kingdom and have some thoughts. So checking in, I have finished Crooked Kingdom. I think I left off by talking about the beginning, and recalling what I was saying before correctly, that there was a character who was in a bad situation, I'll say, from the end of the first book, and so we're away from the heist story that was in the first book. It was kind of a heist structure. We're away from that, and dealing with the ramifications of what happened at the end of the first book, kind of trying to get a character out of a bad situation, different things going wrong, and then the group having to kind of come together, regroup, form a new plan, think through what could go wrong, how to respond to different situations, how to plan one step ahead of the people that they're trying to go against here. It was super fun. It was so good. I had such a fun time being back with these characters, back in this world. The characters are so well developed. I love the relationships that are forming here. I love exploring this world through their eyes. I love just the scheming and thinking through different scenarios and different situations that they find themselves in, and how to get out of them and come out ahead, and what to do to get there. It was so much fun. So the next book I'm going to read is Sea Sparrow by Kristen Kishore. I need to read this one in time to submit it for Kim's TBR game. So that needs to be my next one, but then I will be back to having the tarot cards choose some more series that I continue, because there are many that I would like to continue. And yeah, so I will start Sea Sparrow. I think that'll be my next one, and then I'll check in once I'm a bit into that one. So quick check-in on a lunch break. I'm about halfway through Sea Sparrow and I'm absolutely adoring this. Who's shocked? I love this entire series with my whole heart and soul. And this is the 5th book in this series. The unique thing about this series is that it's a series of companion novels that I do think can be read as standalones, but it's a little more complicated than that. So I think in particular the first 3, or particularly for the first 3, you could read them as standalones. The 3rd one, Bitter Blue, the 4th one, Winterkeep, and this 5th one, Sea Sparrow, do follow the same set of characters and happen in chronological order. So I do feel like it is beneficial to at least have read those in order, but I don't think it's absolutely required. You are following a different main protagonist in each of these 5 books, so even though in the 3rd through 5th book you're following kind of the same cast of characters in general, you're in a different person's head each time, and you are following distinct events, if that makes sense. Anyway, so like I do feel like you can read each of them individually, and you know, there might be some context and some character building that happens outside of this book for characters that are in this book, but I think you still can read it on its own. Anyway, this one in particular, you're following Hava, who is who is connected to Bitter Blue, and so she has helped the queen with some spy work, and this one is actually a seafaring story. It's a very cold setting too, which I feel like is interesting and unique, because a lot of the sea ship stories that I read are very summer feeling. I typically save those for summer because they tend to be adventures on the high seas and everything feels very warm, and it usually feels like summer in those books, but this one is definitely cold. So that's been interesting, and they are on this ship following the events of Winterkeep. Again, they reference the events of Winterkeep, but I don't know, I feel like you can start here and it's fine, but they're coming back, traveling via ship from the events of Winterkeep, and there are some ramifications for some things that have happened. She is working to translate some text, some materials that she has, and they're basically just kind of on their journey back. And Hava makes a discovery, and that discovery kind of sets off a chain of events, and right now they're ultimately kind of in survival mode, so that's also an element of this here. There's a part where they're on this ship, there's a part where it's kind of survival, and that's what's going on right now, which for some might sound boring, but I'm just absolutely loving it, and I'm loving the characters. I love what happened based on the discovery that Hava makes. Like, I'm just in it. Anyway, so thoroughly enjoying. I will finish this one up and then check in, and I think I'm gonna go ahead and pick another book for this vlog as my next read, and then we'll see what happens from there. But having a blast. So I have finished Sea Sparrow. Who's shocked? I adored it. It was about a third on the ship and ship things taking place. It was about a third survival mode in this cold area, and then a third politics dealing with some of the ramifications of what was happening in those other 2 parts. It was just so much fun. I love this cast of characters so much, and I love Kristen Kishore's writing. There are some hints of things that could happen in future books, and I hope that Kristen Kishore is going to write more in this universe, I'll devour all of them. And I also want to quickly mention, so I read this at the beginning of, was it the beginning of April? I have actually read another continuation of a series, and I'm not sure where else to slot this in or talk about it. And that is the second book in the Emily Wilds series. So I'll put an image here, Emily Wilde and the Map of the Otherlands, and this is the follow-up to Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. Took me a moment. And I adored Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. I was very much looking forward to this continuation, and it did not disappoint. I adore Emily Wilde. I adore the entire cast of characters here. We're adding a couple of characters in this book, actually. We're also following, or have into the crew added one of Emily's nieces and then someone else at the university. So it takes place after the events of the first book. And so Emily is back at the university, and yeah, so things continue on from there. She's trying to make the Otherlands, and she's trying to make a map of said Otherlands, and she's trying to explore some other unique aspects of, some ways to get into different parts of this Otherlands. And, she's trying to consider whether or not she should accept his proposal from the love interest of the first book, and she's going on this adventure. It's a very similar structure to the first book, and it was the same cozy vibes, the same humor. I was adoring everything that was going on, and would highly recommend if you enjoyed the first book. I think you will also have a great time with this one. It was delightful. It was the same kind of delightful, and I got everything out of it that I did from the first book. So anyway, just wanted to quickly mention that here while I'm talking about sequels and don't really know what else to. So I have 3 books, Cursed Crowns, which I mentioned in the first lineup, as well as Court of Lions. I also crossed out Crooked Kingdom and put Ruthless Vows because I do have the audiobook checked out from the library. And, I need to, I need to read it before, before it goes, or before the hold comes up or expires, because there are people on the wait list, so I won't be able to actually check it out or renew the hold. I'll have to get back in line. Anyway, and so let's just shuffle randomly, and then I'm feeling the middle one. Let's go with the middle one. Ooh, oh, perfect. Okay. Considering this is the one that is most time pressed, this is actually super convenient. So, Ruthless Vows, Ruthless Vows is in fact the next one here. So, we'll start that. I'm actually currently in the middle of something else, but I will start that one after my current read, and we'll make sure to get that audiobook returned to the library. I don't actually have a physical copy yet, so I'll put an image here on the screen, and yeah, we'll talk about it once I have actually started. And by check in when I have started it, I mean check in after I finished it. So I have finished Ruthless Vows. Absolutely freaking adored it. So to go back to the first one, so we follow Iris and Roman, and so it's a historical feeling, so like World War I England feeling kind of world, but the war that's going on is a war between gods. It's not a war between countries, and it is a fantasy world, but it feels like World War I England. And yeah, so there's a war between gods. So Iris and Roman are rivals at the newspaper that they work at, and they're competing for a promotion. And one of them ends up going to the front lines to be a war correspondent, and they are communicating by these magical typewriters and end up falling in love. And a bunch of stuff is happening with this war in the background. And in the second one, we're following the war a lot more closely, and we're following where we left off. We're following the ramifications of what happened at the end of the first one, and them reeling from that, finding themselves in the midst of some intense stuff going on with this war, and facing some really hard decisions that they need to make as a result of what's going on. I love this one. I felt like the stakes were super high in this one, just the emotional impact of everything going on. Like, I was feeling it. Like, there was a lot of intense stuff going on in this one, but the writing is still just absolutely gorgeous, and some lyrical elements about the writing. I wouldn't necessarily say it's like a super lyrical writing per se, but like, it's just gorgeously written. I love these two characters. Like, just again, I'm feeling what's going on. I'm interested in the world and this war between gods and how everyone fits in, and again, just the decisions they need to make and the stuff that they need to face in order to survive but try to stay true to themselves and help people. And anyway, I loved it. So we're gonna pick, I want to be on a roll of continuing some series and finishing some series. So we still have Court of Lions here, and we also have Cursed Crowns. I've added a bunch because there were some, and technically Court of Lions, I still need to return the audiobook to the library, but there's not a hold on it right now, so I should be able to renew it if I need to. Wild Card, I'm very excited to continue the second Warcross book. I also have Good Girl, Bad Blood. That's the second book in the Good Girl's Guide to Murder series. The second book in the Inheritance Games series. Second book in the Crazy Rich Asians series. The second book in the American Royals series. This Cursed Light, which follows this Vicious Grace, and then Cage of Dreams, which follows City of Nightmares. So I'm not gonna go in detail about all of them, but again, I'm gonna attempt to like shuffle and talk at the same time. Yeah, I'm not gonna go into detail. I'll go into detail as things are picked and selected. But I did want to include, I'm getting more in a contemporary mood. So there are definitely some fantasy and some sci-fi in here that I really am excited to continue. Can we get a good shuffle here? But I did include some contemporary because, I don't know, I've been in the mood. Okay. So we have, again, a bunch here. I'm gonna go this one. All right, let's see. Ooh, Good Girl, Bad Blood. So that will be the next book. Actually, I think I might draw two just in case I can't really check in. It's gonna be a busy week. And so if I can't check in, but I still want to continue a series, okay, I'm just going to draw another. Okay, I did the second one from the right. Let's do the second one from the left as well and see. Ooh, second one in the Inheritance Games. Okay, so I don't know which order I'll do them in, but these will be the next two series I continue. And these are all ones that, you know, I have either the audiobook checked out from the library, or I have an audiobook copy, and I'll be able to just kind of jump right into it. So I'm stoked. And yeah, once I decide which one I actually want to start, I'm in the middle of something right now, but these two will be the next ones I read for this vlog. And just in case I can't check in, that way I've got both ready and lined up. So check in soon. So it has been the better part of 2 or 3 weeks since I've been able to film. I really need to find a more consistent way to be able to film, and that just hasn't happened. I'm going to try and figure out how I can make that happen, but it hasn't happened for the past few weeks, or the better part of a few weeks anyway. And so we last left off with me drawing a couple of cards, and I drew Inheritance Games number 2, which I have now read, thoroughly enjoyed. I think we're continuing the fun games, and Avery in this one is discovering more about her potential connection, like some relationships, and, you know, who might be related to. Anyway, she's finding out more. I think we're focusing more on family and relationships in here than the games aspect of it. And I'm most intrigued by the games aspect of it, but I still really enjoyed this one. I'm actually currently reading the third one, and we're, I think, a little bit more back into the games in this one. I've just been having a grand time with this series. It's just so much fun and entertaining. And so I was then going to turn to the second book in Holly Jackson's series, but have not read that. Maybe I'm feeling like that'll be more something I read in the fall. So I might do a mystery vlog in the fall and incorporate it there potentially. We'll see what happens, but I've not read that one. I will briefly mention though that I have continued on, actually finished 2 other duologies since filming that last clip. One is Wild Card by FairyLoot. I was just so in the mood for this and had a great time with this one as well. I think I like the first one a bit, or what we're following in the first one a bit more than this one, but I still just got so sucked into this series and had such a fun time with it. And our main character figuring out, based on what she learned at the end of the last one, where to go from there, what she can do, finding out about some of the history of the characters and how that relates to the larger picture of what's going on and where she should fall in that, and trying to figure out basically what side she should come down on, or how she should interact with kind of 2 different sides of what's going on, and just figure out the best path for her to go on and do what she thinks is right and figure out what that is. Grand time. And also finished this duology. This is A Court of Lions by Samaya Daoud, and this is the follow-up to Mirage, which I thoroughly enjoyed, and I thoroughly enjoyed this one. This series is so good. Definitely my favorite of the ones that I've mentioned here in this clip. This one is so good. The world building, the politics, the characters. I had a grand time with it all. I think she just built such an interesting world, and I love following the characters trying to figure out and navigate that politics. I love the fascinating mix of fantasy and sci-fi that's in here, and just the implications of what's going on, and our characters trying to rebuild some trust after some things happen at the end of the first one, and find a way to engage with the larger politics of what's going on after what has happened between them. I absolutely love this duology and would highly recommend. Anyway, I'm going to cut it off here and hopefully be able to get this up and edited before too long. But I'm gonna call it here, as I said, and I will be continuing other series throughout the year. There are many on my list that I would like to keep going with, but I feel like this has helped build the momentum, I think, for me to be continuing some series that I've been wanting to continue for a while, and just hunkering down, going through that list, and just getting through some really exciting series. So I hope this momentum will carry forward through the rest of the year. So thank you so much for joining me. I will be sure to put more information in the description, including my Instagram, and more information about how you can support the Black Lives Matter movement. Let me know how you would like me to decide what series I continue throughout the year, if there are fun ways that I can incorporate to decide what series to continue with. That would be great. It's hard to do a series continuation vlog because you can only say so much about the second book, or continuing a series, you can only say so much. And so I'm not sure if these are interesting vlog ideas just by their very nature, but let me know how I can best incorporate this into vlogs, or decide how to pick some series throughout the year. Let me know. I would love some ideas. Anyway, again, thank you so much for joining. Be sure to subscribe for more bookish content, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.